When you're new to the lash industry, it can feel like everyone else has already made it. Like top lash artists and business owners were just destined for success while you're still trying to figure out your first steps. The truth is, every single one of them started exactly where you are right now. They had doubts, they faced setbacks, and they had to fight to carve out their place in this industry. That's why I've brought on some of the very best, not just to share their wins, but to pull back the curtain on what it really takes to build a successful lash career from the ground up. For this series, we're diving deep with artists and business owners who have done the work, the long hours, the late nights, the sacrifices, so you can hear firsthand what it takes to get to the top. These aren't the stories of overnight success or social media highlights. This is about the raw truth, the struggle and the mindset shifts that separate those who try from those who succeed. Today, I'm beyond excited to sit down with Ashleigh, the founder of Melbourne Lashes and a true force in the lash industry. She's built a brand that's become known for its quality, expertise, and undeniable presence. But before she was leading one of the most recognized brands, she was just like you, a new artist trying to figure out how to turn her passion into a career. Ashleigh didn't have a shortcut to success. She put in the hours, she faced setbacks, and worked through the uncertainty that every new lash artist experiences. Through determination, resilience, and a deep belief in what she was creating, she built a business that now stands as a leader in the industry. She's taken the time out of running her business to be here today because she believes in this industry, she believes in the next generation of lash artists, and most importantly, she believes that there is a space for you to succeed. So let's get into it. Ashleigh, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
I'm so excited.
I'm very excited. A dream. Oh, thank you. I'm so excited to be here and share my story.
So I want to start by going back to the very beginning. Yeah. What made you want to become a lash artist in the first place?
Well, I didn't really know that lashing was even an option as a career, because I've been doing this for 16 years, so a very long time. And back then, lashes had just entered the industry in Australia. It was overseas for a period of time prior to that. So lashing was very new. So I actually started off being a nail tech.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, whilst having multiple jobs, I've worked in admin, I've worked in an office, I've worked at a day hospital, I've worked a lot of jobs.
Worked everywhere.
And in retail. So what it was for me was I just didn't feel like I belonged anywhere, or there wasn't something in those jobs that I worked, nothing ignited the passion that I knew I had within me. Anyway, so I did a beauty course, I did a nail course, and I loved it. And then lashes was slowly introduced to me. I was getting mine done, and the girl who was doing mine suggested I do a course. And it was purely just because I wanted to play around. It was not even...
Did you do face-to-face or online?
Face-to-face.
Face-to-face.
Face-to-face with a group of girls, and I was probably the worst student in the class, meaning I struggled. I struggled hard. I was very frustrated because I wasn't getting it like the other girls were.
Yeah.
But I really purely did it just for the fun of it. I didn't think that it would be a career option. Maybe it was a stepping stone to doing something else. And so I kind of fell into it accidentally. And at the time, there wasn't a lot of people who were showcasing how incredible having a lash business is, how financially it's incredible.
Social media would have been so different back then.
Well, Instagram had just sort of come to Australia. That's how old I feel in this industry. When I started Melbourne Lashes, I was using Gumtree. I was using word of mouth, like very, very like old school ways of attracting clients. And Instagram kind of just came to and was used as a platform to showcase your skill. Yeah. So I didn't really think that lashing was going to be something that I'd be doing 16 years later, because it was more like
a seasoned lash artist now.
Yeah.
Lash educator, lash artist, lash business owner.
Yeah.
What was the hardest part of learning how to lash for you? Was there ever a moment when you thought, like, maybe this isn't for me?
Yeah.
I shouldn't be doing this.
Yeah, all the time.
What made you stick it out though?
I think for me, I'm a perfectionist. Yeah. However, sometimes I can use my perfectionism as a way of procrastinating. So that's something that I've discovered over the years. And I think for me, I was so adamant in getting the sets perfect. And, you know, even when the clients would open their eyes, they would love them, but I would see the imperfections. So next time I thought, well, next time I do this set, I'm going to do this instead. And it was just that sheer determination to prove to myself that I could get it perfect, as well as moving through the game. I realized, hey, I can actually make good money from this. And I really hated what I was doing whilst I was lashing. I was a receptionist at a day hospital, and I hated it. I hated being told what to do by a boss. I hated the hours that I was working, the capped pay, all that. When I could see the potential that a lash business could bring in, I was like, oh, hang on a second. If I keep going and I keep perfecting this and I become really good at this can be something that not only fills me up or makes me feel good,
Yeah.
I can actually financially support myself, which was incredible.
How old were you when you started?
I would have been 19.
So you
I'm
were like
30.
the baby of baby lashes when you began.
Yes, yeah.
Was your course a 1 or 2 day? Like, what was your
day.
course like? It was just a 1 day.
1 day course.
Classic lashes only?
Classic lashes only. Volume lashes came in about 4 or 5 years into my career. So like I'm
really at the beginning of lashes.
I am to the point where the way that we would lash and the products that we had were very different. Like
volume lashes would have been so different.
Acrylic, black,
nice.
shiny, plastic looking things that were disgusting. But back then we had nothing to compare to.
The adhesive would have even been completely different to what it is now.
Yeah, it was very, very strong, very fumy. Eye infections, irritations were very, very prominent. Something that was a really big hurdle that we had to, overcome. And I was basically learning how to lash with the industry that was currently evolving as well. So not only was I learning a skill that I've never done before, I was also evolving with the industry. As the products change, as they improved applications and products and formulas, I was actually learning with the industry. And I think that's probably why I've been such a standout, is because I've grown with the industry and I've learned every facet, every angle of the industry, and I've seen the evolution of it.
Definitely definitely seen the evolution of it. Did you struggle with self-doubt when you were starting out? If so, how did you push through it?
I still struggle with self-doubt.
Yeah.
And being in this for 16 years, whenever you're doing something you've never done before, you are going to doubt your abilities. You're going to doubt not just your ability, but doubt whether it is for you, whether it aligns with you, whether it's something that you can do. So for me now, being older and being in the industry for as long as I have just accepted that self-doubt is always going to be there no matter your level of success. So if you're just starting out, you're going to have probably a lot more self-doubt, but just know that it's going to stay with you throughout your whole life. When you're doing something new, you just get better at kind of not ignoring it, but you get better at dealing with it and pushing through the pain.
Basically understanding that it's there.
It's there.
And it's always going to feel uncomfortable when doing something new, like growing pains.
Yeah.
And that push through and you'll be fine.
Yeah, because it's only feels uncomfortable is because you've never done it before.
Yeah.
So what happens with, and I've done a lot of mindset work, our subconscious mind, it keeps us safe. Whether your safe zone is something that is good or bad for you, when you try to step out of that comfort zone, your subconscious mind would do anything to pull you back into something that feels safe. So that self-doubt, that fear, that crippling, like, oh my God, fear, discomfort, simply comes from your subconscious mind trying to keep you safe. So what you then need to do is exercise that part of your brain to create new habits and draw in new habits that feel safe. So whether it's like doing even things like this, the first time I ever did, I was shit scared. I was like, oh my God, I sound like an idiot, or did I get my point across? But the more you do something, the better, the
better you're going to get at it. Yeah. And the more it becomes your new safe place.
Yeah, it does. And then your subconscious mind gets used to that space, and then that becomes your new platform. So then when you go to the next level, that's going to start to feel scary. So self-doubt's always going to be there. And I think that with new lash artists, they think, oh my God, I've got all this self-doubt. I'm not cut out for this. It's knowing that self-doubt's always going to be there. You just have to then get comfortable with that new space and that new sensation. Yeah.
What's the one thing you did early on that really helped you improve your lash skills?
Practice. But can I just say as well, so my story isn't just, I practiced for 3 months solid and I was like fully booked and all that. I did my course and I loved it. I loved what it did, the end result, because I sucked so bad. It was really hard for me to get over that because I'm such a perfectionist. But what would happen is I'd practice for a couple of months, crack the shits and go, I'm not picking up those tweezers ever again.
I always tell my students, you're going to throw your tweezers at one point or another. Yeah.
And what it was for me was, it was the inconsistency of the practice, right? That kind of made my journey at the beginning quite lengthy.
Yeah.
Right. So, but what changed for me was, it was, you know what, I really hate my job so much. I've got to get out. And because I had this skill that I had already developed, I needed to push through that discomfort and get over being not so perfect.
Yeah.
So it was the constant practicing. I would do, let's say, 3 sets of lashes that were incredible, and then I'd do one really shit
bad set. Yeah.
Or the client, I would absolutely love the set and the client wouldn't, or vice versa. She would love her lashes, but I would be picking on it. So it was what kind of got me over the line is just getting over it and knowing that I am going to stuff up
and learn where you could improve.
Yeah. And just witness the fact that I'm learning all of this. Like, this is something that I've never done before, and it is a skill that it requires not only the constant practice, but what it does is it helps to strengthen the muscles in your hands. It's like going to the gym. You don't go to a one gym session and do 100 squats and like, okay, I've got my perfect beach body. You've got to keep going to build up that muscle, build up the strength, build up the technique. You don't
Before
just
you
do
become
that.
good at it.
Yeah, you don't just do that after squatting 100 times.
So one thing I like to tell the girls in my course is learning to lash is like learning to play the piano.
Yeah.
You have to learn to use 2 hands at the same time.
Yeah.
Both sides of your brain is now working at the same time.
Yeah.
And you also have to learn pressure and how hard you're going and concentrating on both hands at the same time while trying to stay steady, while not pushing your tweezers into the client's under eye. And it takes time for that muscle memory to build so that you're not making the same errors over and over and over again. And that is only going to be done over time.
And there are some people that come into my courses and they've got a natural sort of, that they just pick it up, their hands are quite steady, the way they place their hands is a lot, like it comes to them naturally, yes. But in saying that, I was not that student. I was the student that struggled. It can be taught. It's a skill. It's something that with repetition, you get the muscle memory. And it's something that, you know, over my years of educating, I think I've been doing educating now for 7 or 8 years. I see so many diverse students, and it's not the best student that becomes the best lash artist that has the best business.
And the most determination.
Yeah, it's the one that sticks at it, the one that's so determined and is so solid in their vision are the ones that end up being the best. And then they end up being the ones, they start off being the ones that were quite struggled a little bit. I feel like it kind of gives them that fire if they've got it in them.
Yeah. What did your first lash setup look like? Were you lashing out of a spare room, renting a space, or a salon?
So it was I was living at home with my parents. I was young, like I said. So they had like a spare room. It was classified as like a study with a large opening. So it didn't even have a door. I had the basic of basic setup. I literally was using a lounge room lamp. I actually did a piece of content on this the other day, and it was a lamp that kind of like hung over the client's head, and it exerted so much heat, which I then later learned that causes
your adhesive, wasn't
I was wondering why the lash sets weren't lasting, all those things. So I started off very basic.
Oh, sorry.
No, but it's so true. But back then we didn't actually know the interference.
No, you wouldn't have. You didn't even have volume lashes until years later.
No. And the way that our glue function was very different. So I was literally learning from so many mistakes. Like, I stuffed up so many times. I think I've turned over so many blocks of clientele because I would master one thing, and then something I was doing wrong would lose my whole entire clientele, and then I'd start again, because the level of education we had back then was so basic.
Slim to none. Yeah.
It was so minimal, and it was all about a lot of trial and error. There's still that in today's education, but not as much as what it was back then. But in going back to my setup, it was so basic. So basic.
Did you buy your products and equipment firsthand?
Yeah, I obviously, all I did was buy a bed, that lamp, and a stool, and then obviously just my lash stuff. And then slowly I started to add in nice things like a blanket or like a bit of like fake flowers to dress up the space, to kind of create more of an experience. At the time, looking back, it was my branding, but it was just so minimal.
So what were some of the biggest mistakes you made when starting your business that you wish you could go back and fix now?
I think it was like, if we're talking very, very beginning, I wish I didn't sort of have that stagnant practice phase, because I probably would have progressed a lot faster and started a lot sooner. Meaning, I wish I did my course, and I wish I was practicing solidly for a good couple of months, because I would have, that transition phase from being an employee to my own boss for me was nearly 18 months.
Yeah.
where it could have only been 3, which is what a lot of my students now experience. They come in and I obviously from experience teach them what they need to actually do if they want to see that quicker turnaround. So within 3 to 4 months, my students are pretty much fully booked, running their own businesses, because I know how important that first 3 months is after your course. Because after your initial course, you are filled with a lot more motivation, inspiration, all these things. However, it's also matched with a lot of self-doubt, a lot of fear, and all those things. You've just got to keep focused and stay quite persistent with those first 3 months.
To set up a schedule and stick to the calendar, basically.
Yeah.
Find time to fit in at least half an hour of lashing a night.
Yes.
Just be
Even
as
if
consistent as possible.
Yeah, even if it's holding the tweezers in your hand and sticking lashes on the sponge, or like doing very basic things to build up those skills. It's almost like, you know, like I always use the example of building your dream body. You have this vision of your body being a certain way, but you're sitting on the couch thinking about going to Pilates or thinking about going to the gym.
If I manifested in my brain, it works. It works.
Well,
I want a big bum and I'll have one next week just because I manifested.
Right. So
you have to put in the effort.
Yeah,
Yes.
it comes, there's 2 parts of success. It is a strategy and it's the mindset. It is the thinking about it. And
strategy and execution.
Yeah, and it's the physically, like at the end of the day, we're performing a physical task. So you need to physically do the work. Another thing I would say too is not practicing on mannequins. So I used to give my students a mannequin to take home. I don't do that anymore.
Okay.
Because what I saw was a lot of my students would spend months and months perfecting a mannequin. Great, cool, good on you.
And
However,
then they hit a client.
they could do a client and they're dealing with watery eyes, a client that blinks all the time, a client that is, you know, their eyes are fluttering or they're moving. All these things, even styling becomes hard because they've just been focusing on this one mannequin who doesn't move, doesn't water, their eyelashes are the same. So that's probably one of the things that I wish that I did, or wish that was done more now in the industry, was not focusing a lot on mannequin work. Go and do people's lashes, even if it's a brother, a dad, whoever has
Just
lashes.
whatever you can get your hands on.
Yes, do it.
Maybe not your babies.
Not your babies. No, well, let's be honest, they won't sit still anyway. But yeah,
maybe if they're sleeping. Just get to brush your lashes.
Yeah,
Stay
they've
still.
got the best lashes anyway.
They do. They have the best lashes.
They do.
It's insane. So when you were first building your business, what was the most difficult part? Was it finding clients, setting prices, or in your own opinion, what was the most, other than staying consistent, learning how to lash, when you built the business, what was the hardest part for you?
My mind. It was what I was.
So it was always your mindset for you.
And I didn't realize that. I probably got into a lot of mindset work maybe 3-4 years ago.
Yeah.
I didn't realize I was doing it kind of before, but it was very prominent to me about 3-4 years ago when I went through something quite traumatic in my personal life. But reflecting back, anything is hard when you tell yourself it's hard.
Yeah.
Getting clients is hard when you tell yourself it's hard. When you sit there and say it's hard, I can't do it, this is the industry is oversaturated.
Self-doubt.
You're going to attract that, right? So for me, it was the fear mongering or the narrative that I had in my mind that was hard, because I kept telling myself, oh my God, you're not good enough, Ash, or you're not going to get clients. Who's going to pay you? It was my mindset that held me back, because the skill was there. I was good once I practiced. However, it was the mindset. It was the narrative that I had in my head that kept me kind of taking 2 steps forward, 10 steps back.
Yeah.
That's what it was for me. And why I am a big believer and one of the first lash educators to introduce mindset work into lash training, because like I said before, success is 80% mindset, 20% strategy.
I don't disagree with that. Do you have any book recommendations or any podcasts maybe that you can recommend to the students to listen to?
The one person that really got me on this path was Gabby Bernstein. She's an American motivational speaker. It does pair manifestation with, you know, self-love, self-worth. And when we start to sort of settle in that energy, we start to think and feel different about ourselves. And when we think and feel different about ourselves, we attract different things into our life. It's a big snowball. So Gabby Bernstein was probably my first point of contact, and probably Roxy Nafusi. She does a lot more manifestation, but it is a lot of, again, it comes down to being very clear on what we want to attract in our life, overcoming fears and doubts, being a little bit delusional in the way that we speak to ourselves, what we envision for ourselves, getting over, you know, self-sabotaging, imposter syndrome.
So I have a business advisor, and she was talking mindset to us. And she mentioned something that's just stayed with me now, that when she has a little girl and she was in the kitchen with her partner and she said to her partner, I've just got to go make myself look beautiful. And then one day her daughter came up to her and said, okay, mummy, I'm going to go make myself look beautiful. And that kind of hit her hard. And she was like, I've just taught my daughter without realizing it that she has to put makeup on to go and look beautiful. And that subconscious mindset, that everything that you're being negative about picking up on, your brain is like, it's like almost poison to the brain. You don't even realize you're poisoning your brain. One book that I recommend that's dramatically helped with my own mindset in the industry was Louise Hay. You Can Heal Your Life, or any sort of Louise Hay book or podcast that you can listen to. She's incredible.
Yeah.
She's absolutely incredible.
And I think too, what happens is over the years, from baby, like this is from toddler baby, when they start to comprehend and start to build their subconscious mind, we are conditioned with hereditary beliefs. So it comes through our grandparents, our parents, and then it comes through to you. You then have that opportunity to sort of rectify and stop that, change that.
Yeah.
So it's definitely something that is an ongoing piece of work that we need to, obviously, first of all, it's about acknowledging and witnessing where it is that you are keeping yourself stuck.
Yeah.
And listening to your own thought patterns and realizing, oh shit, is this something that I actually really believe, or is it something that I've been conditioned to believe that this is true? It's like with my son, you know, we sit there and tell him, oh, you know, if you don't sleep, you're not going to grow. So that, you know, things like that.
You don't eat your peas and carrots.
Yeah, you're not going to do this. Like we're conditioned with all these silly little white lies as a child, but then that can then form into something into our adult life. So it's being aware of the thoughts and the narrative that's in our mind, knowing or witnessing whether it is something that we actually believe in, or is it something that we've been made to believe through conditioning. And it's rewriting that.
Rebuilding your own mindset.
Yeah.
Which is such a difficult task.
It is, and it's ongoing.
So let me ask you a question. If you had to start all over again and you had a $0 budget. Now, I know one of your go-to stories of what's happened in your life is that you were in a significant amount of debt when you started this lash industry. It was one of the first videos I ever saw of you years and years ago now. I was in this much debt. I couldn't feed myself. I was living in this situation. I'll let you tell your story. If you had $0 and you had to start all over again, how would you do it today?
The exact same, exactly the same. Because, you know, like you said, when I started this, I had no money to my name. If not, I was in about $30,000 in the negatives. I didn't finish high school, so I didn't have a job that was, well, in saying that, just because you go to uni doesn't mean you're going to have a high-paying job.
Yes.
But I went from job to job. I had loans for my cars. I never was really ahead. I never really had this pretty, you know, piggy bank of money. I loved to spend money. I loved shoes, makeup, any typical girl, right? I loved all those type of things. So when I wanted to do the course, I borrowed the money from my parents and I had to pay them back. My parents never really, it was never like, no, it was, my parents are hardworking and they instilled that in me. And I promised them, said, Mum, like, give me this money and I'll pay you back.
Do you remember how much your course was?
$850.
It's very expensive for 16 years ago.
Yes. Yeah, it was.
For a one-day course.
Yes, it was.
Wow. And you guys complain about prices now.
I know. So I would do exactly the same, because at the same time, I feel like because I was struggling, I had to push harder to make it happen.
And you borrowed the money, so you felt like you couldn't let them down.
I had to pay them back. I couldn't let them down. And I did I made do with what I had. Like anytime I would make money from my full-time job, instead of buying that new dress to go clubbing that weekend, I bought a new bed, or I bought a new light, or I bought lash supplies.
Reinvested into yourself.
Yeah, but I there was a moment, there was a period of sacrifice, and that's what I feel not a lot of people talk about or want to do, because this day and age, we want to have everything. We want to have the nice house, the nice car, the nails, the lashes done, you know, all the latest makeup trends
these days. Yeah. Everything's got to be quick.
Yeah.
And everything's got to happen now.
Yeah. And if you speak to anyone that is successful, they went through that sacrifice period. And that's what I did. Instead of buying a brand new dress to go to Alhambra, which was like the cool place to go every weekend. That's where I met my husband. I bought products, or I bought, you know, something new that would make my client's experience better.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't change anything, because I feel like having that type of beginning, that struggle at the start, gave me the fuel that I needed, because I had to pay my mum back. And I had to make this work to prove my worth to myself and others who doubted me. So I wouldn't change anything. Because I
Yeah.
feel like if I had it easier at the start, I probably wouldn't be here today. Like if it came easy, like I had all the money to pay for the course, or I had all this help and all this, you know, favorable situations, I probably wouldn't have pushed as hard as I did.
Yeah. So do you remember the first paying client you took on?
Oh,
Do you remember the whole experience and how long you lashed them for?
I remember when I was practicing, it would take me like 4 hours to do a set, and that was classic.
Yeah.
4 hours, and then I hated them anyway.
My first classic set was 6 hours.
Yeah, it's a long time.
Mm.
And I've learned like a really good method on how to cut down your time as a beginner. That's what I teach my students so that they don't have to experience that. But if you are experiencing lengthy times lashing, don't worry about it.
What do you recommend for cut down time?
So it is setting a timer.
Yep.
So set your first set for 3 hours, and then every set you do after that, eliminate 15 minutes. And making sure that you're monitoring your timing, because when you don't have a guideline or a set deadline to do something or create something or finish something, you don't do it. So
Yeah.
I tell my students, set your timer for 3 hours the first time you do it. The next set, 2 hours and 45 minutes. The next set, 2.5 hours.
Yeah.
Until you get to that 1 hour and a half. And if you do that around 7 times, you're at that 1.5 hour mark.
Mm-hmm.
That can take you a week. That could take you 7 weeks. That could take you 7 months, depending on how often.
Could take you 7 years.
Could take you 7 years. So that's something that I do that I've learned early on, because I didn't have that guideline at the start. It took me ages. But in saying that as well, I also want to emphasize that take your time. You are applying a very strong glue close to somebody's eye. I'd rather my students take an extra half an hour and be safe and get
Or
a
be
better
unfinished.
set.
Yeah,
yes.
Just focus on technique. I do want to add to that the time frame. One of the best ways I teach my students to stop stressing about the way it looks at the end of a set is focus on the bottom lash layer closest to the eye.
Mm-hmm.
Get that as full as possible if you have to, if you're running out of time and you're like, this has to look somewhat good.
Yeah.
Because you're not going to see the first layer unless they're blinking or their eyes are closed.
Yeah.
So if you focus on the bottom layer, which is a handful of lashes compared to what's overall on their eyes, then at least you'll have a somewhat completed set in that time frame you want to work in. Then focusing just on the layer closest to them, because then they'll see the discrepancies in the lash line. Then the lash line is at least somewhat crisp and completed.
One other thing that I find helps, particularly with beginners, is lashing both eyes at the same time. I am a big believer in that is how it needs to be done for a number of reasons.
And in sections.
So what I do is I get the girls to map out their set. We always start on the right-hand side if you're right-handed, left if you're left-handed. So we do the first section, we place a lash in that first section, and then go to the left and do exactly the same thing on the other side. Come back over, go in the next section, do one there, and then you go back and forth. So what you're doing is not only are you creating a symmetrical eye, both sides, you're creating evenness, you're creating balance. And if you're stuck for time and your client needs to leave or you've had enough, your client is opening up their eyes and the lashes are done from outer corner to inner corner, both eyes. Yes, they may not be as dark, dense, and as full. However, they're going to be balanced, even, and symmetrical.
So we're very similar. We don't go from outer to inner. We do the exact same method of working in sections, but I tell my students go outer, inner, middle. And then outer, inner, middle, and then keep working in the blank sections. So if the client has an emergency, they answer their phone, their child's sick, they broke their arm, whatever the situation is, and they need to leave in an urgent manner, they're at least somewhat balanced across the whole set of their eyes. And then that way it kind of would look like a refill that they would need to get done, but they wouldn't look one eye done, one eye not done, or just completely imbalanced altogether.
Another problem with not doing both eyes at the same time is it is like 99% of the time we have one eye that has more lashes than the other. So if you're solely focusing on completing one eye, you'll get that very full, and then you focus on the left eye, let's say, and that's got less lashes than the right. Your right eye will always be darker, denser, and fuller than the left. That creates an unbalanced eye. It doesn't look good.
Do you agree with 100% coverage or balance?
Balance.
Yeah.
You can never really get 100% coverage, because there's going to be those baby lashes in there that can't hold a lash, no matter the length or the diameter. If you lash 100% and you are getting those baby lashes, not only are you going to cause damage to the lash line, you're going to have some lashes that are hanging too low because their weight ratio is not supported on that baby lash. So
Agree.
I'm around the 80 to 90s, maybe 95% coverage. It just depends on the stage of their growth cycle. There's so many factors into that, because you'll notice that sometimes you do a set and then a refill, and then the next 2 or 3 refills will either be fuller than the last, or not as full, or quite sparse because of the lash shedding. If they've gone through a shedding phase, they're losing 40% at once. So you're going to have an inconsistency in the way that your lash set looks for that one particular client, or depending on the cycle of your lashes.
Even though clients are having their lash shedding, it is not taught enough that clients have lash sensitivity when they have their period. And it can cause a great deal of pain when you're lashing them and they're either getting their period or they've just got their period. And they're going to say majority of the time, one of my eyelashes is hurting.
Yes, like that discomfort when you go like that. It's like a bruised feeling.
It is a bruised feeling. And it's not taught enough that clients will have a monumental amount of pain when they are either getting their period or having their period. And it can stress a student or a lash artist out, not understanding why this set has caused this client so much pain. And then they start to wonder, oh my God, am I hurting this person when I'm lashing? Which can, once again, hurt their self-confidence when they're lashing. So at some point, they will get a client that will experience some sort of pain. But to keep an eye out that, yes, they might be going through pain. Are you doing anything wrong? Here's a checklist of what to check. Otherwise, you can go ahead and ask the client, you can experience this pain during this time of your cycle. And just to be aware of it, which I think needs to go into any aftercare or before care.
Even in the education
towards a client.
And you know what's funny? I only experienced this after having my second child, after having Eva. So she's nearly 2. And I was getting my lashes done and they were just so painful. And I had, random feelings of like that, because I've had my lashes done since I've been in the industry. Constant. The only time I ever had a break was during COVID, obvious reasons, and now actually.
I was going to say your lashes are really
don't have
right
anything on and I'm just dying. But anyway, after having Eva, I was experiencing more discomfort, that bruising sensation. And I have noticed that since having her, my hormones have not been the same.
Pregnancy can definitely change it as well.
Your hormones play a massive part in that. So even if you're lashing a pregnant lady, her cycle will change. It'll either slow down or speed up. She might shed a lot more. She might shed a lot less.
I think maybe we need to do like a whole entire course just based on women's hormones and lashes, because what about after you have a baby and you have your hair falls out and your lashes are so easily falling out, and there you go, retention issues again. So like I said, it's not taught enough in courses about hormones and lash extensions.
Can I also just say something so controversial? And this is kind of going on natural lashes, but nothing to do with hormones. We are, as educators and as lash artists, are taught to say lash extension shouldn't cause damage to your natural lashes. But I'm going to actually undo, even I've said this, I'm going to undo it. Because no matter what you do, no matter the application, there's always going to be a change in the way the lash grows. To the level of the extent of damage that is caused is obviously going to be determined by the application. You could go to the best of the best. I could be doing your lashes and you are still going to experience a change in the way your lashes grow. And meaning, you could have your lashes done by me for 5 years, take them off and actually look at your natural lashes and be like, hang on a second, they are quite short, a little bit thinner than what they used to be. And then over a few months, I start to regain the strength and the length, because we're applying something foreign on the natural lash.
You took the word right out of my mouth.
Weight ratio onto the natural lash, which is going to change the way that it grows, right? So lash extensions will cause damage to the natural lash, but to the extent is determined by the application and the person doing the lashes.
I couldn't agree more.
Because it's like your nails, it's like your hair. When you get your hair bleached, you're changing the form of the hair, you're stripping it, I don't know the terminology for, you know,
Hair
bleaching the hair.
extensions as well. You're going to
Nails,
lose
it's
hair.
the same thing. You know, whether you're buffing, you know, you're buffing the nail bed, depending on how hard the nail tech goes into the nail bed will determine how far the damage goes into the nail bed and creates that long-term damage. So lash extensions, we've been told don't cause or can cause damage to the natural lash if they're done incorrectly. But I believe that no matter how well you're doing them, there is going to be a change in the
I
function.
think anything that's foreign that you're adding to your body, whether it's Botox, filler, hair extensions, eyelash extensions, nails, lash lifters and tints, anything foreign you're adding to your body is going to change the way anything functions.
Yes. 100%.
Absolutely
I just
anything.
Have to say that because I'm a big believer in just being so
blatantly honest. Yeah. And transparent. Completely. Yeah.
You took the word out of my mouth.
You did foreign before. I was like, I wonder if she'll say foreign. Yeah. So many new lash artists feel paralyzed about the fear of messing up, gluing a client's eyes closed or pulling a natural lash out by accident. Like I said before, poking a tweezer into the skin. What advice would you give someone who's afraid to take their first client?
Well, I like to look at failure or like fear of failure as a way to learn.
Yeah.
You're only going to learn what not to do next time when you stuff up, when you fail. So I always say to my students, don't be afraid to fail because then you'll know what not to do next time. So if you stuff up and you didn't do very well with your pad application and the lids get glued together, the lashes get glued together, you know what not to do next time. Every time you stuff up a style or you do apply pressure to the eye that causes chemical burn and you fail, you know what not to do next time. So look at failure as a way to learn and know how to improve and not do the same thing again. Unfortunately, clients will be, clients will get to have to experience, you know, getting chemical burn from, you know, overexposure to the fumes if you're pressing too hard on the iPads, and you know, it's just how it is. It's sort of
even like iPad bruising.
Yeah, things like
it's
that.
It's only like a way to learn what not to do next time. I did a podcast yesterday. I don't know if you've seen it yet, but it was about fear, and we say that you should never fear failure. You should only fear quitting.
Yeah,
because that's when you fail, is when you quit.
Yeah.
Because you'll never know what potential you had behind it.
Yeah, and if I stopped every time I was fearful, I wouldn't be sitting here right now, or I wouldn't have been able to train the thousands and thousands of girls that I've trained and helped them build their own lash empires, simply because I was scared that I wasn't going to be good enough, or I was being judged, or I'm more fearful of the fact that if I gave up, what would my life what would it have looked like? That's what I'm more scared of. I'm scared of going back to being an employee. I'm scared of being, you know, in that environment of not having the control of my income, not, you know, or not being able to take 4 holidays a year, or, you know, buy my beautiful car, or whatever it is. That's what I'm more fearful
just the
about.
complete freedom.
Yeah.
Knowing, you know, what's happening in your business, in your life.
To an extent.
Yeah.
The unknown, there's always going to be unknowns. However, I then have the choice to choose which avenue I take.
Yes.
When something comes up, or if I'm wanting to expand, grow, whatever it might be. It's just having more choice, as opposed to, you know, when you start a business, it's not like, okay, I've started this business now, I'm so successful, I can do whatever I want. Yes, there is an element of that, but it actually comes with having more choice. More choices.
How long did you say before it took you to like finally feel confident in your work?
18 months.
Yeah.
But again, it was a mindset thing.
It was a consistency error.
It was a consistency. It was what I was telling myself, that I wasn't good enough. My work was probably great, but I had to allow my mind to catch up with the physical. Do you know what I mean?
So, and just the whole business aspect side of it. Retaining clients, gaining clients.
Yeah, and just setting up my policies. And I'd never done it before. I had no one to even show me what that even looked like. So I had to get my mind had to catch up with what I was physically doing. Physically, I was probably doing really great, which I was. But mentally, I just wasn't accepting the fact, or I wasn't acknowledging that, hey, hang on a second, you're actually doing a really good job.
Yeah.
You should feel already quite confident in what you're doing. What are you waiting for? Like, what kind of gratification are you waiting for?
Yeah.
You know, so I had to get my mind to catch up. Do you want
someone to come up and like pat you on the back?
Yeah, where's my gold medal, guys? I'm still waiting.
My golden star
I'm
today.
still waiting for that medal. But yeah,
so this just, it falls into my next question was, do you believe that confidence comes from like skill, mindset, experience, and so
I
forth.
think it's everything.
Yeah, mindset is
everything.
obviously
It's
huge
so
to you.
powerful. Oh my God, it's so powerful. Like we can literally talk our way into or out of something, and we can literally like, I call it my delusional method. You can sit there and be so delusional about your dreams, good or bad, and you will then start to physically experience it. So what happens is when we do, so I'm really big on meditation and visualization, right?
Yeah.
And I do actually a lot of in-person workshops on manifestation, empowerment. So when we do a visualization exercise or meditation, your brain or your subconscious mind doesn't know the difference between visualizing something or physically experiencing something. So you could sit there and visualize how you want your life to look, or how you want your business to feel, or how you want someone to treat you, or the experience you're going to have in an environment. If you sit there and visualize a very negative experience, your brain doesn't know that that is just a visualization. And then your body, your physical body, then feels the nervousness, feels the anxiety. Whereas if you flip it and think, I'm going to have this incredible experience, I'm going to feel like these people are going to respond to me in this way, or I'm going to attract these type of clients, I'm going to make this kind of money, your brain thinks that's actually reality. And then your body starts to ease into that complete abundance, and it starts to attract like for like, because then you're in a different vibration. So this is going to go into like a different conversation. But when you match your vibration with the things that you want, you do that with visualization, because your mind doesn't actually know the difference between physically experiencing something or visualizing it.
The mind is an extremely powerful tool.
Yeah, and we're only really using 5%.
And if you tell yourself you can.
Yeah, be delusional.
You can,
The shit that I sit there and talk to myself.
Oh, you can just ask my partner.
Someone was listening to you. You sound like an absolute nutcase. But that's how I've been able to talk my way into so many things.
My partner would definitely approve that I am the most delusional person on the face of the earth.
That's great.
Like, I can do this, this, and this year. And he's just like, you're so delusional, Brianna. I'm like, I'm going to make it happen. This is what's happening, which is how this podcast came
exactly right
to fruition, because I delusional.
But then it's created it for you. It's become physical.
Yes, exactly.
Very powerful.
Yeah. It's also just like the consistency of believing that you can while manifesting and being delusional about what you want.
Yeah. There is a part of the brain, and there's a lot of research done about it, visualization, and how it actually, you know, things can come to fruition just by visualizing. However, a big part of achieving the things that you want to achieve, you have to align the behavior. You have to physically put yourself in the rooms. You have to physically enroll into the course. You have to physically do the things that you need to do to attract these things. However, visualization, manifestation, and the way you talk to yourself makes the process a little bit gentler and easier for you to experience the feeling.
So at what point did you realize you wanted to turn Melbourne Lashes? Were you always Melbourne Lashes?
Oh, at the very, very beginning, I was the nail and lash bar.
Okay.
Melbourne Lashes was established in 2013 while I was in a villa in Bali. My husband, or he was my boyfriend at the time, he came up with the name. I'm going to give him the credit. And he's like, why don't you do Melbourne Lashes? I'm like, surely that's taken. And then we looked at it. I'm like, oh, it's not taken. And I bought it. We were literally in Bali in our villa, 2013 October.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Perfect timing. God, partners really do play a role into it.
Oh my God, he has been the driving force behind.
Oh, so is my partner.
Being where I am today. Obviously, I've done the heavy lifting, but he has kind of given me. So just to go back a little bit, when I met Joe in 2012, no, I met in 2013 at the start. He was running his own business company. And I finally, for the first time, had somebody who had gone out on their own and started their own business. He's a builder, so it's nowhere near lashing. However, the fundamentals are the same. Registering a business name, attracting clients, just what it takes to start your own business and the man hours you've got to put in. I had a model to show me what I needed to do.
You also, you had that help to... just to make sure, even bouncing off each other is super important when running a business, because there's nobody that's going to understand you more than being with somebody that also runs their own business, or even has that ability to be like, I'm going to take a risk to run my own business, which is a scary thing to do.
Or it was even just having the understanding of, hey, babe, I actually can't go out for dinner tonight, or I'm in the middle of something. I have to sacrifice this one-on-one time with you to put into my business. It was never like, why are you doing that for now? Like
Yeah.
my friends
Business hours are over.
Yeah, my friends would always say, like, we'd catch up at night and my phone would be going nuts for clients wanting to book an appointment or whatever it is. Like, Ash, turn off. When you're at that beginning stages of your business, that is when the man hours come in and you need to do those man hours. And just having him there to understand that if we're having a conversation or watching a movie and I need to get back to someone in that moment, I need to do that.
Yes.
And he got that. And then moving
And
forward,
they're so supportive towards it as well.
yeah, and having that support does make a difference. If you don't have it, that's okay. It just makes it a little bit more challenging. However, when I started the academy, in my mind, I said, I want to be that for my students. I want to be the role model. I want to be the person that gives them the blueprint to what is required, not only to lash, but to do the business, start the
I
business.
actually bought that book from you.
Oh, yeah,
when it first
ebook.
came out.
Oh my God, I did that in 2019 maybe.
Yes, maybe.
18.
That was when I first opened my first salon.
Yeah.
And you brought it out and had the little blue cover.
Yes.
You're standing next to the...
Yes.
And I remember buying that one from you and I was like, I went through it and I was like, oh, I've done all of this. Oh, well, then I'm on the right track. That's
Well, that's
great.
what it is too. It's my ebook. It's How to Start a Six-Figure Lash Business ebook. And basically it goes through the fundamentals. It is a simple, easy 5-step process that you need to do to start a lash business.
And not everybody would know those steps unless it was given to them and in front of them.
And that's what I didn't have the years prior to meeting my husband. And so I thought, you know what? If I felt that way, then so many other girls did. So I created the ebook and it's basically a guide. It also has in there how to gain clients, all those kind of things. So if you are at the beginning stages and you want to make sure that you've got all your, things crossed off your list, it's a great guide for you as well to make sure that, okay, I'm on the right track.
Business blueprint.
Yes. Yeah. 100% it is. And it's helped so many girls.
It's okay if you don't have a positive partner or that kind of support around you. Not everybody does have a network or somebody to lean on. But if you are in a situation, because I have a lot of students that are in a situation where their partners are unsupportive of their environment and their desire to go off and build a lash business, and they're also surrounded around negative family members or negative friends continuously putting them down and not being their hype person. So I do want to say the one thing you have to put in place if you're in a situation where you don't have that support is boundaries. Boundaries are massive, and boundaries are going to protect your spirit, your soul, your mindset into being able to achieve your goals and your delusions. Because without boundaries, everybody's going to knock your walls down and everybody's going to hurt your feelings to the point where you're not going to be able to develop and create that business that you aspire to have and dream of opening one day. So put your boundaries in place early on and make sure you protect your emotions and your mindset and your abilities to build your business in the beginning.
And what that will look like is, to give you an example, like setting a boundary is maybe not talking to a certain group of friends about what it is that you're doing.
Absolutely.
And boundaries are things that it doesn't have to be completely shutting off from the world, completely being, a recluse. It's just about selecting who you're having certain conversations with, who you're talking about, your biggest dreams, ambitions, and desires with. It's about being aware of your surroundings and knowing it's the conversations, because what happens is if you're having a conversation with someone that has a lot of limiting beliefs or self-doubt themselves, they're going to bounce and reflect that onto you. What happens is if you don't have that self-belief, you're going to absorb their limiting beliefs. You're going to absorb their fears and doubts, because sometimes you might talk to a friend that I'm going to start a lash business, and she might turn around and that might scare the shit out of her, putting herself out there. She might turn around and say to you, well, what if no one books in with you? What if you're really shit? And then she's just only, don't do that. Everyone's doing a lash business. Why are you wasting your time for? And she's only reflecting back to you unconsciously what she is fearful of. It's not that she doesn't want good for you or she doesn't want you to succeed. Unknowingly, she's reflecting back what she's fearful of.
Her opinion.
So, with your boundaries, it's about being very clear on who you have conversations with and what you're talking to them about.
It's also about believing in yourself, and having those boundaries in place allows nobody to be able to penetrate your own mindset. Carve out times in your schedule to focus your energy on your business. We were fortunate enough to have our partners understand when we were working late nights, because we know that that's what it takes to put into the business to get anything out of the business. But if you don't have that surrounding environment where you're working at night, you know, they're complaining, or dinner's not ready for the kids, or the house isn't clean, or we've got to go out and meet this person. Just make sure you've got your boundaries in place and put it into a calendar. And if it's in the calendar, it's going to get done. So put that boundary and be like, well, no, sorry, I've got to keep going until 6 o'clock tonight to fit in everything I need. Otherwise, I'm going to have to do it after the children go to bed or after we go and see our friends or something. Just make sure you prioritize your needs, your business, and your boundaries. And boundaries are going to protect everything else.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah, and just make sure you're just pushing out the noise and the nonsense, and keep in and surround yourself around lash groups and business women and
people who have done what you want to do. And
Absolutely.
I say that all the time to the girls, like, don't take advice off your girlfriend who is working a 9 to 5 and hating her life and her job, or like a parent or an auntie that is old school, that doesn't know how profitable this lash industry is. Talk to the people who are doing what you want to do. I would never take advice off, like a financial advice, off someone who's driving a beater down car that doesn't even start. If you pull up in a $400,000 Lamborghini or G-Wagon,
hey, what'd you do to get there?
Like, excuse me, we need to have a conversation. I need to know what you know, because I can see, I'm not saying that because you have fancy,
not materialistic or anything. It's just you've made it, you've done it. Well, not made it, because made it can look differently, but you've achieved this goal. How did you get there?
Yeah, and for me, I say to my students, if you're going to ask anybody a question about a lash business, ask me, or ask your lash tech, or ask someone who is doing what you're going to do, because they have experienced it. Asking your brother or your sister or your girlfriend or your auntie, it's never been in the industry before, they're just going to tell you surface level things that they know nothing about.
When you're learning business, go to the professionals about business. When you're learning lashes, find somebody who's done it like yourself, who's radiating that energy of success. Go to them, ask them, how did you do it? Then you find your way.
And one thing that I found has been a little bit crappy in the beauty industry, and I do a lot of talks at high schools, so this has been my new thing.
Yes, I was going to mention this later.
I love it, because I'm just basically a voice to the girls who are wanting to get into the beauty industry. Unfortunately, though, at high schools, they encourage their students to go to big beauty schools. And they go to big beauty schools and they learn every single waxing, tinting, all the things, right? But they're learning from someone who is a TAFE educator. Yeah. Not a lot of them have physical business, beauty, lashing experience, right? So, and then what happens is these girls go do a beauty course, they finish high school, and they're like, I've learned nothing, because none of these teachers have physical experience to then teach them how to start the business. So that's something that I've witnessed a lot, that's happening with the newbies. If they've come out of high school and done a beauty training in high school, they don't, like 80% of them don't end up doing it, because their education is coming from a textbook. It's not coming from someone who has physically had the blood, sweat and tears into a business, know the ins and outs of gaining clientele, using social media,
somebody who's
the
completely done
financials.
it.
Yeah, like for me, I think going to someone that's quite independent, like you and I, our companies are independent. We're teaching from pure experience. Like we know the shit, the good, the bad, all the things, because we've physically done it before. So it's not even just in lashing. Even if you want to learn how to do anything, go to someone who lives and breathes what it is that you're doing. Yeah, you are going to see every facet, every angle of that business, and then from that you'll be able to see if it's for you, and number two, know what steps to take, and you'll be 10 steps ahead.
And I do believe that in these TAFE courses, they teach some form of lashing as well.
Some of them
and then
do,
they come out of it. I've had a few students say, I've learned lashing in my beauty course at TAFE, but I'm still so confused.
Because it's outdated.
It's a lot of information to take in, learning bits and pieces of each.
Yeah.
Once again, we always go off track. But you know how people go to university, they learn law, or they learn English, or they learn business, or they learn how to become a doctor. I feel like beauty school is like that. You're learning waxing and makeup and nails and lashes. Pick a genre and then kind of master that first, and allow yourself to fall in love with it before adding on spray tanning and nails and lash lifts and tints and eyelash extensions. It's like pick one, master it, and then really live it out, really learn every in and out about it, and then decide, do I want to add something else onto it?
Mm.
Because spreading yourself thin around everything else, you're never going to become amazing at that one thing. You're going to
exactly what
be
I do.
okay at everything.
Yeah. I only teach, or I only offered, so going back to the salon, only offered lash extensions.
Yeah.
Not lash lifts, not lash tints, no eyebrows. My sister does that.
I was going to say,
incredible.
Seeing your sister, yeah.
And I just solely focus. And along the way, I've had so many people, why don't you do brows? Why don't you do lash lifts? No, I love what I do. I'm freaking good at it. And I am the go-to person for this particular thing.
Yeah.
Right?
I am an expert in my field.
Yes.
Yeah.
So then when I open the academy, I solely focus on offering eyelash extension courses that predominantly produce very clean, neat work. That is the solid foundation, is the trickiest type of lashing to perfect. But once you do that, all these extra wispy, wet look, all the, add-ons become a breeze.
Yeah.
So I never introduced mega volume training because I don't like it. I'd never specialized in it, doing it physically. It's not my thing. So I'm not going to teach it just because it's going to make me more money. And when you have this undeniable passion and love for something, it vibrates, and it is something that people will see. And that's probably the one comment that I get time and time again after doing a student is, oh my God, Ashley, you were so passionate. You can really see how much you love not only the lash industry, but helping others. Because I honestly, like I would do this for free because I freaking love it.
Yeah.
And I love it because
your
I
message
am
is
so
extremely strong.
Yeah. And every time a student leaves, like, Ash, oh my God, you are so passionate. Like it literally just oozes out of my face because I literally am. Like I am undeniably passionate because I found something and that not only lights me up, that's giving me a career financially, but I've perfected it. Yeah. I am one of the best at what I do. I know what I'm good at.
And I think if you do know your worth, which is what you're worth.
Yeah.
Like what you're saying is, I know my worth. I know what I'm good at. I know I'm extraordinary in this industry.
Yeah.
And by saying that out loud, it's not insulting anybody because you do radiate it. You radiated it to me when I stepped into the salons of what I was doing. I think if you're radiating it and you're so passionate about it, then that's something to be proud of. It's really hard to get to where you've gotten to. And I would say scream it at the top of your lungs and dance around in the street, just saying what you got to say.
Yeah.
What's been the biggest lesson you've learned about branding to stand out in the competitive industry?
Being me. And that's really hard to do. I still battle with that now. As soon as I put my face to Melbourne Lashes, it changed. So at the start, it was just Melbourne Lashes. No one knew who I physically, what I looked like and who I was. And then slowly when I would go to lash events, we had like a Lash Vision, which was a conference back a while ago. And people were like, oh, you're Melbourne Lashes. No one knew me as Ashleigh. So as soon as I put my face to the business and the name, something changed. And I think it was because people, as human beings, we need to find connection with somebody. We need to see ourselves in that other person. So as soon as I did that, people were like, she's this tiny little girl because I am very small, and she's
I think we're both about 4'9" here, aren't we? 4'9", 5"?
I wouldn't even know. All I know is I'm 150.
We're about the same height.
Right. And when people meet me, like, oh, you're like tiny. Like, I did not expect you to be this way. But when I started to put my face to the brand, I started to connect.
Yeah.
And then when I connected, people saw themselves in me. And if they would look at me and think, well, if she's done it, if she didn't finish high school, she was in debt, she started this business, all these connecting of the dots. Like, it's easy then. No, not easy. It's doable. And so I think when it comes to branding, it's about you don't have to showcase your whole entire life, but it's about being you, because we are all different, and that's what separates us from everybody else. And that's what brings in, certain elements into the brand. But it creates connection. When it comes to, so when you're talking about branding, it's two different things. This is what I teach my girls. When you're creating your lash brand, it's two parts. It's a feeling and it's the look. So when you're creating your lash business, I want you to think of your business as a person. What does she look like and what's her personality? Looks are your brand colors, the fonts that you use, your lash setup. Or as a person, what clothes does she wear? Is she a sneaker, tracky kind of girl? Is she someone that's very polished, put together? So what does the aesthetic look like? The branding, the colors, the fonts, all that.
A good example of this is when you did your podcast with lash makers.
Yes.
She is very big clothing, super comfy,
Yeah,
got her
she's
Nikes
awesome.
on,
Yeah, yeah.
absolutely stunning.
Yeah.
And then there's you, who is completely polished and looks so beautiful and has like her color scheme on. And yes,
always representing.
But perfect like example of clean and polished and comfortable in big baggy clothing. And I think that's her clothing line as well, with her sneakers on, and both equally as successful as each other. So
yeah, and it doesn't, one's not more successful than the other, or one is not right or wrong. It's
what suits the clientele.
Yeah, I can't. Not that I can't, because I do spend most of my days in lounging.
That's the benefits of running your business.
Yeah, and I am a mum too, so it is about comfort. And these jeans at the moment are killing me because they're very tight.
Yes, we should have come in our pajamas.
Yeah, oh my God, that'd
next
be awesome.
one.
But it is about being who you are. Like, it is in me to always have my hair done, in a sense of, if I'm presenting myself in a business form, I need to not look the part, because it is
Just
me.
be yourself.
It is me, and I love that. And so going back to like the branding element, that's the physical. What does it look like? But I feel like with a new business owner, that is just the smallest part that they focus on, and they forget the other part, which is feeling. What is the personality?
Yeah.
So the personality is your brand vibrant, energetic, exciting, or is it something very calming, tranquil, relaxing? So when you're thinking about building your lash business, what do you want it to feel like when someone enters the room or meets you for the first time? When you pair those two together, branding becomes a lot effortless and a lot easier to understand and create. Yes, it's going to change as you evolve as a person, as the person behind the brand. Let's say, for example, with my academy, I want to create a space that feels nurturing, loving, supportive, inclusive, a place where women can come and feel heard, feel like they're empowered, supported, all those beautiful nurturing
I'm
things.
telling you what your business is, because it's how it's made me feel along the journey, which was supported.
Right. And I want people to come in here and be like, oh, Ash gets me. And I feel like I have a lot of my students call me Lash Mum. And that's exactly what it is.
Good.
I'm like their mum, because I
need to trademark that.
I know. And I feel I love my students, and I want them to feel so supported, like you feel when you're with your mum.
Yeah.
You know, like I hug them every time. I always say, can I
so
give you
would
a
you
hug?
say, do you know anything about business archetypes?
A little bit.
So
Yes,
would you say that your business, obviously you will go away and look up what I'm about to say.
Yeah, I do. I will do
you
that.
are a caregiver archetype, where it is that nurturing sense of, I've got you, mother in love.
Or my sister.
Yeah.
Like, I look at my sister.
I'm going to take care of you.
You're coming under my wing, and I'm going to give you every bit of knowledge
So I feel like you're very protective of your like baby lash artists, and you want to make sure that they're all nurtured, loved, and cared for, and successful along their journey. Yeah,
I wasn't at the start, and I wish I had that support, or that love, or that guidance.
Yeah,
not everyone loves that kind of support and love and education, and that's okay. But I do find my students who resonate with that.
Everyone might be curious with this question, but I'm eager to ask. The color you chose is not your average color for the industry.
No.
I'm curious to know how this came about for you.
So Melbourne Lashes at the very beginning was white and pink.
I think everyone starts with white and pink.
Yeah, everyone jumped on board, and I'm like, nah, it's time for me to evolve. Then when I started Academy, it was black and white.
Yes.
That very power play, that very strong,
clean
authority. Right? Everyone jumped on that. And
I think I was black and white too in the beginning.
A lot of people do black. It is safe. It gives a black. So when you're looking at the color wheel of emotion, black creates authority, power. White is playful, soft, loving, and I introduce a bit of gray as well. So I use a lot of the color wheel to help, because, like, for example, I'll give you a bit of information. McDonald's, red and yellow creates hunger, right? Things like that. Blue, Facebook, and that's all
101
trust
business.
and, So when I was in the black and white phase of Melbourne Lashes, or the Academy, and I started to see it everywhere, I'm like, enough's enough. Like, I need, not that I'm the trendsetter, but I feel like I kind of
need to stand out.
I start something, and, it becomes a thing, right?
Yeah.
So I'm like, hang on a second, you know what? It's time to switch it up, because not only that, I became a mum, I changed a lot as a person, I developed a lot of mindset work. So the branding had to evolve as well. And I chose this color because purple's my favorite color. It's like a burgundy,
It's like a
purpley kind of.
movie.
Yeah. But the
Purple.
funniest thing was, after choosing it, it became the new season color. It was everywhere.
Like it fell into line for you.
And it was like, all right, I need to stock up on clothing. I need to stock up
Yeah.
on equipment that's going to have my branding color. And it would just so happen to be in line with the season. But it wasn't because of that. It was purely because I needed to pivot.
What do you think separates lash artists who make it from those who give up in the first year? So once again, back to the podcast I created yesterday, it says the best time to plant a tree was 10 years ago. And the best time to plant one now is today, not tomorrow, not a month from now, because no one's ever going to be ready.
No, you're never ready.
Just start.
Yeah.
And we have a lot of students, because we're self-paced learning, some of them have put it off for a year.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like, let's go, let's get you there, because the minute you jump on your tools, you're going to hit the ground running, because you're going to become obsessed and fall in love with it. So what do you think separates lash artists who have made it to those who, you know, give up in the first year? And before you answer that, can you just define what you believe made it looks like?
Made it, it's changed a lot over the years.
Like, what does success
look like? Back when I started, like in my 20s, it was the nice car, the nice house, the nice shoes, the nice physical materialistic things that I could financially afford, you know, a brand new Range Rover or the European trip.
Yep, your whole vision board.
Yeah, it was the materialistic things. Oh my God, I've made it. Now it's a feeling. It's feeling successful. It's feeling like I am who I truly want to be.
If we removed money from it, your definition of made it is
how
I
feel.
successfully got there. I've done it. I have beautiful students who have completely come to me and created their own wealth. I've made it in the sense where I've opened a successful salon and an academy. So that's where you define made it now.
I find it as well in the fact that I've made a difference in an industry that I never even thought would even be in my life for this long. I have made an impact on so many people's lives. Whether it's just someone listening to my podcast that doesn't even want to do lashes or listening to this, and they go on to start their own, I don't know,
apple picking
business, whatever. It's the inspiration. And I feel like I've made it because I've been able to inspire people. I've changed the way someone thinks, even if it's one person. I've changed the way they look towards themselves, the way they feel about themselves, the way they love themselves. It is a feeling now. It's, yes, the money, the cars, all the beautiful things are the byproduct of what I've been able to achieve. But now success for me is a feeling, how I feel about myself and what I've been able to create in the industry and the lives of people who have met me.
What do you think separates the lash artists who made it to the ones who give up in the first year?
It's sheer determination. It's that delusional method that I teach. It's the mindset. Because I've had students, like I said, I've been training now for 7 or 8 years, and I've seen a diverse variety of students. I've had the students that have come in and completely aced it. They're a natural at it. They're doing so good. And I look at them and think, oh my God, you're going to be the next best thing. And then they go on to do nothing because they let the fear and doubt take over, or, you know, they allow external factors to control, you know, what's happening and their growth. Then I've had students come in and completely struggle and really just find it hard to even just like put a lash on. But if they've got that sheer determination to make this work, they ended up being the best lash techs in Melbourne, Australia.
It's like they put in all this effort and they just never give up. They're like relentless.
It's like determination. It's the mindset. Like literally, you could be the shittest student in my class. Me, I was that person. I was the shittest student in my class, but I was the only one that ended up doing something with the skill and the business.
What star sign are you?
I'm a Leo. I'm a Leo. You?
I'm a Leo.
Oh my God,
it is this complete determination. So if a new artist listening to this is feeling lost or overwhelmed right now, what's the one thing they should focus on?
Mindset.
It's always going to come down to your mindset.
It is, because 80%, you need both. You need the skill and the mindset, but you can't have one without the other.
Got to be humbled as hell.
But I think too, it's knowing that you are always going to get to a stage in your life where you feel lost, or you feel like giving up, or you feel like you're failing, or you're feeling, just defeated.
Yeah.
No matter your journey, no matter where you are, you're going to, it's a constant roller coaster. So I've been doing this for 16 years. I still have my days of who's going to want to listen to me. I still have those fears and doubts of, Ash, like, are you old now? Like, are you really
Should I
still
even be
doing
in this industry?
Right, yeah. Or you're a mum now. Who cares about what you have to say? I still have those low moments. But because I've strengthened up, I've got the background in mindset work, I then hear that bullshit chatter in my head and go, hang on a second, Ash, let's pick it up and let's have a look at what you've done. Or let's look at just the sheer determination of you getting out of bed today, and even though your kids didn't sleep last night, or if you're someone that's not a mum, or it's something, the fact that you look at yourself and think, I took the chance to do a lash course, paid all the money, put in the time. I should love myself for that. Pick yourself back up. Try to diminish that chatter, that negative chatter in your mind, and push through, and know that it's always going to be there. You're not going to wake up one day and all that negativity and fears and doubts are going to go. You just get better at ignoring it and conquering it.
The beauty industry can be competitive and not everyone is supportive. How do you handle negativity in the early days?
If someone doesn't like me, I get really offended. Well,
it hurts our feelings a lot. Yeah.
I'm not used to it. It still does now. I'm learning to, I think maybe as I'm getting older, not really care.
Must be a Leo trait.
Yeah.
My feelings get really hurt.
Yeah. Like if you don't like me, I will sit there and think, oh my God, what did I say for them not to like me? At the end of the day, if someone's not going to like what you're doing, what you're saying, how you dress, all those things, that's their thought and that's none of your business. If that makes sense. That sounds a bit brutal, but it's none of your business. Yeah. And you're just a 5-second thought in someone else's mind. They're going to go on and, find
their life's
going to
go on. Yeah. Like. The next person to pick on.
Yeah, like I've even found like some lash businesses have actually blocked me on Instagram, and I've never even met them before. And at the start, I'm like, oh my God, what did I do? And I try to figure out what it was, but then I realized, well, that's on them. If I've said something that offends
honestly
them, that's
their
my
loss.
opinion though.
Yeah.
And I don't say things to hurt others. I don't say things to, make someone feel less than. I say things or I express who I am because that is who I am. I'm trying to be authentic, and I will attract the right people to my business. And if that's not you, cool. Let's not have any beef. I'm not going to have any beef with them or any resentment towards them. We're just not going to align, and that's okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
I've gotten better at that though.
Better accepting that not everything is in your control. Yeah. So social media. This is a huge one I want to touch on.
Yeah, it's a love-hate relationship, let's be honest.
Yeah, gosh, I hate it most days.
I hate it most days, but it's a love-hate, yeah. We're very lucky to have it.
I think in our day and age, businesses are thriving off of it.
Yeah, if you do it right.
Yeah. So that is the problem though, isn't it? If you do it right.
Yeah.
So social media is a huge part of business now, but it can also bring comparison and self-doubt. How do you keep your focus on your own journey and not be influenced by what everybody else and the trendsetters are doing?
Okay. This is something that I really want to dive into because there is a big movement at the moment where a lot of lash artists are all looking the same. If you go on an explore page and it's filled with lash photos,
it's exactly the same.
It's copied. Everyone is like a carbon copy of the same thing. So one thing that I actually do, and this might be like a bit mean or not mean, but this is just what I do to cope. If I'm seeing someone on Instagram that's kind of triggering me, or I'm feeling less than that person, it's simply just showcasing to me that I desire what they have. And if I'm finding that it's making me compare, which comparison is a very low vibration, I will not block them, but I will mute their page.
I didn't even know you could do that.
Yeah, so their content will still come up, but I can mute their stories or I can mute things that are triggering, just so that I don't get blindsided or feel like it throws me off track. Because what happens with me is I have all these ideas, or if someone's doing something, I think, oh my God, I've got to be doing that too. Quick. Let's think of a way.
It's the visionary trait of running a business.
Right, and you're just constantly evolving and you're recreating all the time.
It kind of gives your business whiplash.
Yeah, and when you're seeing someone else doing something, it might not even align with your brand or who you are or what you believe in. You kind of get this feeling of, oh shit, I've got to do that too. This is that whole wispy, wet look lashes. Everyone's kind of jumped on board. And I'm not saying that it's a bad trend. I'm not saying that it's not here to stay, but don't do it because everybody else is doing it.
Everybody feels the need to keep up with the industry trends.
And it's fine, but do it in a way that still oozes your authenticity. Do it in a way that's not carbon copy, like to the point where, I'm going to say it's Lana Lashes, for example, right? She is incredible at what she does. What she's built is incredible. The brand she's built is incredible. The way she takes her content, she's got this beautiful animal print, sort of like fluffy blanket, which takes her post. So many girls have jumped on board and carbon copied what she's doing. What that then does, it dilutes your brand. It dilutes the trust that a client has within you. It dilutes who you are. Therefore, you're always waiting for somebody else to take their next step so then you can then move. Anytime someone is copying somebody else, you're on the back burner because you're always waiting for them to take the next step first.
Yeah.
So what I do is, if I'm feeling like I'm comparing or I'm copying or I'm just, taking in too much inspiration from somebody, I will mute them on Instagram because then I get back to my own authenticity, my own creativity.
And Lana Lashes, I've noticed she doesn't follow anything.
No.
She's always created her own path. She created her own lash mapping styles.
It's an incredible
thing. Also has that grit and grind to raise her children and go to work, and she builds her own content.
Yeah.
And I think it's okay that people want to, look up to her and follow, what she's doing. But I want my students to look at these people, everybody, yourself, myself, Lana Lashes, everybody included, even like Maddie Lightheart. Everybody has their own unique style to bring to the table. And if we're carbon copying everything that everybody else is doing, you're never going to set yourself apart. And I always say to my students, look, I know you want to learn lashing and you want to do this and you want to do that and you just want to dip your toes into everything. But unless you find your own niche, your own voice and your own business vision, you are forever going to fall in line with everybody else and you're never going to stand out, which is why it was so important for me to bring this podcast to fruition, because I want all of you guys who do have the biggest voices to be on their lash table, to have your quotes out there for their own mindset, to be their, forefront of their brain, to create the next generation of lash artists, the next product, the next design, the next lash trend. And the only way that they're going to be able to do that is if they step away from copying because TikTok's algorithm says so, or Instagram's algorithm won't feature you if you're not being your true authentic self. So I do definitely agree, 100% agree with exactly what you've said.
And I think too, and I say this a lot, is with lash artists, is finding your signature offering.
Yeah.
And so, for example, with Melbourne Lashes, I was known as the go-to person for that pristine, clean lines, clean, perfectly applied lashes, whether it's classic or volume.
Yeah.
And I pinpointed myself as the guru, the go-to person for this type of style. So we attracted those clients to the business because I positioned the business to be the go-to person for that style.
Yeah.
Same thing with the academy. So if you're finding yourself being too inspired or comparing yourself to others, I want you to kind of sit back, mute everything, sit back and just think about, what do you truly love to create? Wear yourself. What do you truly feel you are the best at? That becomes your signature offering, and that becomes what you market yourself as, the go-to person in that chosen field.
For you, what was your biggest passion in building and running your business? What was it? Was it the education side? Was it creating those crisp lines? What kept you going to being like, this is what I'm most passionate about, this is what I have to do and I can't live without it in your business?
If we're talking about that now,
just in general, what lit that fire to keep going?
Is creating my mark, or building a mark in the industry, and just being the person that is, when you think about lashes and you're entering the lash industry, Melbourne Lashes or Ashleigh Lacorcia comes up and it's like, oh, she's done this in the industry.
For me, how I know you and what has left your mark with me was that caregiver, educational, go-to lash educator brand.
Yeah.
That's, even though I have my own educator brand, what drew me most to you in the beginning of mine was how you educate and how you run your academy And I didn't know you for crisp lines. I
No,
didn't know you for
yeah.
any of that. I've
Okay.
known you, loved the business since, you know, I began. And that purely came down to how you educate and how you love and adore your students and how you create that environment that is so magnetizing and passionate and caring and nurturing to every single person that walks in your door.
Yeah.
That is what your brand screams to
Yeah,
me
that's
and
good.
what it always screamed to me. So if you
love it
wanted
you
to know
said
what
that.
your business voice was,
Yeah.
that's what it said and suggested to me, that you are and you do and you provide and radiate to every single person that walks in your door. I don't know how you were as a lash artist, and I don't know how you were with clients, because
It's pretty much the same.
I never knew you like that. I've
Yeah.
only ever known you as Ashleigh Lacorcia, Lash Educator Academy.
And I think that just comes down to my personality, maybe my upbringing. I'm Italian, like we said before. It's all about the nurturing.
It is.
You know, it's about
The feeding, but with lashes.
I feed you with lashes. And so, and I love that you've just said that all to me, because it's exactly what I'm about.
And then you've hit your target right on the mark.
That's good. And I love to hear that, only because when you're in amongst the business, you sometimes lose sight of what everyone externally sees, because you're in it, like you're almost blind to the sense. But basically what I am like in the academy was exactly how I was with my clients. They came in and they felt like, oh my God, like, you know, it was just such a beautiful.
I feel like I already know you.
Yeah. And they just loved coming to their appointments, and we loved the connections that I had. You know, I had half of my clientele come to my wedding, like to the church to see me get married.
Wow.
You know, things like that. You know, I built such a beautiful bond.
Yeah.
And that's what it is.
It always starts that way, doesn't it?
Relationship. And I've actually got some really good friends that I met through being clients of mine. So one of them, my friend Sam, she runs a hairdressing salon. I started lashing her when I very first started Melbourne Lashes, and I was her first girl in Melbourne to do her lashes. Now our kids are brought up, you know, grow up together, and it's just incredible that that's come from lashing. You know, so it's that nurturing, that loving, that family feeling. That's just.
And I think you find your people that way.
Yeah.
By being that way, you draw to you what you're radiating at, and that's how people hang around. So if you could go back to yourself, go back and speak to little Ash, 19-year-old Ash, what would your advice be to her? What would you say to her?
Have fun. I say this to my students all the time. Have fun. Don't take everything so seriously. And when we have fun, it again comes down to a vibrational situation. You exert a different type of vibration and aura. And when you're creating from fun, passion, and love, things just fall into place a lot easier. So have fun with building the brand. Have fun coming up with your business name. Don't let it be, oh, I've got to come up with a business name, or, oh, I've got to create an Instagram. Oh, I've got to put up a post. Flip it. Like, oh my God, let's have fun. Let's play. Let's see what works, what doesn't work. Again, you start to attract the right aligned type of clients, the right type of situations into your life. Don't worry about what people think about you.
Yeah, just stop caring.
Yeah,
Stop
and I
caring.
think it is very hard to do that, because I still will post content and, oh, Ash is so cringe.
Oh, I cringe every time I post something. I'm like, who's going to listen to that? Oh,
but you know what? I think now if someone, just one person, watches my 30-second or 60-second reel and think, you know what, that's it, I'm going to, I don't know, ask that guy out for a date, or I'm going to start that lash business. If I make a difference just in that one person's life, that reel was perfect. Yeah. And if 10 people scroll and think, oh my God, what an absolute idiot, she looks like an idiot, or whatever.
That's one person's opinion.
Yeah, and they're going to scroll past 5 seconds later and look at somebody else, or look at another.
They're going to forget you.
You're going to forget. Yeah. And you will attract and you will resonate with the right people. Yeah. And you're not going to be for everybody, and that's okay.
It is okay.
Because the right people will fall into your place, into your life.
Getting clients is one of the biggest challenges. Now, we knew this question was going to come up. How should they get their very first client, or to even, you said before, most of my students are fully booked 3-4 months in. How are you explaining to them to draw themselves a clientele?
Okay. So obviously this is going to be quite deep. So being in the industry as long as I have, I'm going back to very sort of old school ways of attracting
marketing
clients, right? Because at the start of my career, we didn't have social media as prominent as it is now. So it was all about word of mouth. But the way to do it properly is to create the ultimate experience for that particular client that you have on your bed, even if it's your cousin, because at the start of your lash career, you're going to be lashing your sister, your mum, your auntie, your cousins,
Whoever you can get your hands on.
whoever. And then most of the time, the people that you know, from that, you start to build other people. So if you, let's say, example, you lash your auntie will go to work and someone at her work will see her lashes and like, oh, your lashes are so good. Where'd you get them done? Oh, my niece does lashes. Here's her business card, or here's her Instagram, or here's her details. And that's slowly how you start to build. But you need to be sure that you are creating the ultimate experience for that client, regardless of who she is, if it's your sister, your mum, or your auntie's work colleague, it needs to be the same. So when I say experience, about how comfortable your lash bed is, the way you communicate with your clients, the way you do a consultation. Do a consultation. Like,
don't
I can't
skip this
stress
part.
that enough.
Yeah.
Do a consultation with your clients. It's how you make them feel, and they will remember how you made them feel long after the lashes have all fallen off. When someone asks them, hey, Brianna, when you went and got your lashes done there, how was it? The first thing you're going to do as a human being is remember the feeling that you felt. Even meeting me or meeting whoever it is, when someone asks you about meeting me, you're going to remember how I made you feel. Then you're going to remember the
felt like crap, guys. It was an awful experience.
But do you know what I mean? You're going to remember how you feel. So remember that when the client comes into your door, into your lash space, have that in the forefront of your mind, because that's what she's going to remember. So when you start to create that ultimate experience, when people start to ask them about their lashes, they're going to boast about you. They're going to be, oh my God, you've got to go see Ash. She was amazing and the lashes were incredible. So you start to build that momentum. Don't lose sight of that, no matter where you are at in your journey, even for the academy. You know, when I very first started, I wanted my students to feel comfortable, supported, loved, all those things. Still to this day, that is my priority.
What's your signature of comfort?
Oh, I love affection. Like, I know it sounds a bit weird, but like,
squeeze you, cuddle you, kiss you later.
I love a hug. I love a hug, and I love to create sort of bringing down. I'm your teacher, you're my student.
Let's come to the same level.
Hey, I have been in the seat that you are in right now. I know how you feel. So no question is a silly question. I'm here as your sister, as your mum, to support you through this. And I want to get down, not to their level, but bring our levels the same point, so that they're like, oh my God, I feel like an idiot if I ask Ash a really silly question, or oh my God, I feel like an idiot if I'm stuffing up right now, or, oh my God, I can't get the lash on, Ash is going to think I'm stupid. No, I do not want them to feel that at all. So it's about, again, that nurturing experience and making sure that when they're in my presence, it's like we are, I'm no better than you, you're no better than me. It's not this sort of authority sort of tug of war. It's, hey, I've got something that you want to learn and I'm here to give it to you. Let's do the exchange, basically, in that sense.
I just want you to feel safe and welcomed in my space.
And as a lash artist, that's what you need to do with your clients. You want it to be a beautiful, safe space so they can come in and get their lashes done and feel like they're not only going to get the best set of lashes, but they're also going to feel comfortable. Because when you're laying on that bed and your eyes are closed, for some reason, we just blurt out the most deepest things. Like, you become a therapist with a lash artist, and you want them to feel comfortable to say what they want to say and to sort of maybe
do not, under any circumstances, guys, provide your clients with any advice. Don't do that. And do not be judgmental on their own behavior. That is steer clear. Could you imagine? Oh, I wouldn't have done that. They're never coming back to you. They are going to be so embarrassed.
Don't leave that boyfriend of yours and the next minute they're back together or something. You know, I've learned my lesson. So one thing I want to touch on that is, yes, it's good to be vulnerable and open and create a safe space. But as a lash artist, I did it the wrong way. So at the start, I would absorb everyone's energy and I would give them my heart and soul, and I was just their person, right?
That's a bit energy draining. Yeah.
And I would be drained. Like, I physically felt like I'd run a marathon and I couldn't even speak for like an hour because I was so drained.
Yeah.
And I learned that I needed to not put up a wall, but again, boundaries, like what we talked about before.
Yeah,
Have boundaries. Let them say what they had to say. Let them vent. Let them do what they needed to do to feel safe. But then also sometimes if I felt like I was getting too involved emotionally, I had to kind of put up a bit of a wall and a boundary to be like, okay, I am their lash tech. I'm so happy that they feel safe and comfortable in my space, but maybe it's time to change the tune of the conversation and protect me, because I still got a whole
conversation leading.
Yeah, I still got a life to leave.
And I've got 5 more clients today, and you're going to steal all I have.
Yes.
So back to social media, it plays a role. And I want to be careful in what we say about social media, only because I don't want to be like, oh, this is how you do it. You post just this. And then I've got all my students rampantly running around going, I have to get this photo. I have to post it. It's what's going to work. It's what's going to get me there. So I think when I ask these, like, let's maybe do it in like a broad sense, unless like we go a little bit deeper in some aspects that work. But I don't necessarily want to be like, you have to do this. No, this is what's going to work. And then be like, well, it doesn't work. That's not what happened here. Yeah. But social media plays a huge role in business today. What are some of the most effective ways you've used social media to attract clients? Have you used like maybe ads? Or no ads, all organic.
So it's all organic, and it's all just proof. Proof is in the pudding.
I think it's a bit difficult though to even ask that question, because you are solely educational based now. Mythbusters and so forth. Everybody's going to go and binge watch your Instagram after they've listened to this episode.
Because there's so much on there.
I do think you should go and binge watch it. But in saying that, it's difficult for you to promote your lash extension services now, because you don't do lashes anymore.
I do very exclusively.
So I have how do you advertise that separate to your lash extension business when you were doing it?
Yes. Okay. Before having kids, it was a lot easier. My time is very different now, but now I'm getting back into the exclusive.
She's going to do my lashes.
100%. When we're going back into when I was running both Academy and the salon, it was very different for me because I had staff members that were running the business. That were basically, I set everything up so they could run it. We had clients coming through.
But that would look a little bit different now with the new one coming up and having to re-advertise that you're open. Like, I'm sure majority of your clients will just run back to you, but
it's not even, I think for me what it is I've built such a reputation that one glimmer of me creating content of me lashing, the DMs flooding. Now, what I recommend is to do models. Yeah. Right? Don't be afraid to do free work. Yeah. This is where some get unstuck, think, oh, if I'm not going to get paid, I'm not going to do it. I still do free work. Yeah. I still do lash sets for free, to whether it's if I'm learning a new technique or if I'm trying out a new product or whatever it is. If it's for exposure on a celebrity, I would do free work. So do models, advertise free sets of lashes, get people in to get content and start to build up your portfolio to showcase your skill level. Then once you start to do that, you start to recognize what you like, what you don't like, what you're really good at, and then develop your signature offering. From that, you showcase all facets of that. It's the consultation that you do to get that end result. It's the conversations you're having prior, during, and after the appointments. And
record everything. Yeah. Treat it like it was a full paying client. Dress the part. Yes. Create the space. Bring the model in. Show them what you would do to the person who is walking in your door that is a paying client.
Yeah. And don't be afraid to do free sets, because it's what's going to help you not feel obliged to maybe do it in a faster time frame or XYZ, whatever it might be. Because sometimes when you have a paying customer laying on the bed, you're like, oh, she's been here for 2 hours, but I would love to get some content, but I feel bad that she's been laying there for 2 hours. I'm just going to let her go. And then you don't capture the content for advertising purposes.
No. So what a waste of your day.
Yeah. So when you have a model that's getting a set for free, you kind of feel like, not that they owe you, but you're giving them something for free that should cost $200, let's say. And then you're going to have more time to take the content and do all the things that you need to do to help build up their portfolio and their social media presence.
Yeah. So if they're feeling uncomfortable with promoting themselves, they're feeling uncomfortable getting on camera, what advice do you have to somebody that does struggle? Because even I've been like I can't do this today. I can't get on camera. I can't even form words. And I was so intimidated by people that were able to form structured sentences, sound so sophisticated, and knew exactly what they were talking about. Then I discovered this really cool tool that was like a teleprompter on my phone while recording, and I was like, "Hey, this is amazing! Yeah. I can write what I want to say, and I can get my message across, and it sounds great." But it took me a really long time to be okay with even just getting on the camera. The camera would be in my face and that was it. I was lost for words, stage fright, gone.
Yeah.
What's your advice to girls to get over that stage fright? Because you've just started getting like really on camera as well.
I've done it for a while, but I probably take about 10 shots to get the right thing.
Wow. I see. I feel like these Mythbusters and the educational ones are just brand new, probably in the last few months.
Oh, those, yes, they're brand new.
So I'm like, oh, she's on camera now. She's talking to me.
Yeah. Mythbusters Lash Edition, I have basically done just basically rambling.
Yeah.
Because
but
it's just
new.
purely something that I'm passionate about, and it is new. That when I'm talking, so when I get on stories a lot, but don't get me wrong, when I get on stories and I talk, I probably film it 10 times until I get it right. And it might look polished.
So just take your time. Yeah.
Yeah. Or if I do stuff up a word, it's okay. You show that you're human, and I'm getting better at that. It's the perfectionism in me. If I'm filming something and it's absolutely perfect, but I've said a word wrong, like I haven't announced it properly, I'm like, oh my God, delete, I've got to start it again. Yeah. And I'm learning to be like, that's okay. You're a human. And
well, that's the whole point of this podcast is the real grit of
stuff.
The just, guys, you better be eating popcorn and drinking coffees and wine. This got to be a vlog podcast, and you better enjoy the hell out of it. It's like got all the juice in it.
And it just goes to show that, like, I'm sure if I grabbed my phone and showed you a story that I posted, and it might have been like a 2-slide story, but I probably got like 10 versions of it. It's because that's what it takes to get that perfect thing.
Self-criticism.
But at the same time, I find a lot of people connect better with the human.
The human in you. What's some simple but powerful things a new lash artist can do to instantly look more professional and trustworthy online?
I think it's about definitely like the branding side of things is really important. I think you don't have to go out and spend thousands of dollars of doing a brand shoot. It's just about being clean and neat and presentable. And if that's the brand, like, you have to stick with your brand. So if you're someone like me that's very sort of more polished, wants to showcase more professionalism, things like that, it's showcasing that part of the business. So it could be things like you sitting there filming your consultation and how you're putting across your expertise and you're showcasing the level of detail that you go into a consultation. Or it could be someone that's a bit more fun and quirky, loves to do lashes in your set of pajamas. You have a lot of more playfulness. Showcasing that, I think, is really important.
I always service older women and I have deep and meaningful conversations with them, and I love their insight, and they, it's a bit funny, they treat me more like I'm their child, and they want to like love me, kiss me, doe on me, and be all around me when they're with me. But I never attracted the younger girl, 18-year-old market, and that it might be, how I used to dress and go to the salon, or how I marketed my salon, but that is my target market, and I fell and lent into it, and I nurtured it, and I embraced it. But like I said, if you want to look professional and you want to build that trust, be your true authentic self, really lean into who you already are.
And that's going to change over time. That's something that I want people to know, that just because you've created a business at 22, let's say, or whatever age you are, and you've been lashing for 5 to 10 years, that person behind the brand of the business does evolve and change. And that's okay for your brand to evolve and change, and what you believe in does change. Because I have.
Yeah, like, I'm definitely not who I was when we started.
Yeah, and obviously trends come into play. A lot of things come into play, and it's just sort of getting your viewers or your potential clients involved with your evolution. I did a post the other day, and I encouraged people after watching my reel to scroll through my page, my feed. It takes a long time because I've been doing this for a long time. But I wanted them to see the evolution of Melbourne Lashes.
Is it still there?
Oh my God, I've never deleted anything.
Amazing.
Go on it.
I think mine's still there too.
Oh my God, it is so, it's like cringeworthy, the kind of content that we used to post, but that's all we had. My photos were very like orangey yellow.
Oh my God, and they're like got like orange peel all over them. They're so pixelated.
So terrible. But the purpose of that piece of content was to show that my growth in the industry, and to invite my viewers to get to know me through that. And once I can connect with that, it shows who I am, and then it will attract.
Ash completely allows stalking, guys. So just go
I love
ahead and
it.
scroll right
And
down.
get into my DMs and ask me questions because I'm a big, like you
She
can see,
is.
I
She
love
is.
chatting.
She is.
I love
She'll
talking,
respond.
and
She's not shy.
I love it. I
Yeah.
really do.
Pricing. That's a huge concern for new lash artists. How do
Yeah.
you balance attracting new
Okay.
clients with not undervaluing your work? So I know some people will be like,
Yes.
I only charge $40 for this set, and their
Yeah.
set's like $100 worth, looking gorgeous, set up, nice, like their natural technique. How do you think that?
Okay, so this can come down to a lot of different things. Number one, it's a money mindset thing that can block you from putting yourself out there and increasing your prices. It could be what that would look like is, oh, no, I'm not going to charge that much because people are going to think that I'm greedy, or people are going to think this and that about me, or if I make more money, I'm going to be looked at a certain way. So it can be like a money mindset block that they have that's limiting them from increasing their prices. But one thing that I'm a big believer in is your price should reflect your level of quality that you're providing. However, I believe the lash industry is a luxury service.
Yeah.
Not everyone should be able to afford lash extensions. And I use this as a big example. Let's say, for example, Chanel and Kmart. They're both incredible. They both have their part in the market. You could buy a bag from Kmart and a bag from Chanel, right?
Yeah.
Or Louis Vuitton, Bottega, whatever it is.
Whoever, yeah.
Right? But the level of experience, quality, everything like that is going to be very different, Kmart versus Chanel. You can choose where you sit in that. There's no right or wrong, because Kmart has a place, Chanel has a place. I believe the lash industry should be at the Chanel level. It is a luxury service that not everyone should afford to have. You should be pricing your sets in that range. So we need to be a premium service. If your client can spend $150 every few weeks or whatever it might be, that's a clientele that's going to create longevity in your business. So I tell my students, when you're starting off, I give them like actually 3 different breakdowns of price lists that should progress throughout their career, and their level of skill reflects that price list. And we slowly increase. So what I recommend when you're starting out is obviously you do it for free for a little while, get all your models in and start practicing, building up that confidence and the skill level. And then I set them off at a lower price point. When you start to see your sets improve, your timing improve, and your confidence level increase, you go to the next price point, and then so on and so forth. But I'm a big believer in not doing too many discounts. If you keep offering every month, $20 off this month, $50 off next month, I don't like that. What I do like, though, is a referral program inside of the business that's contained within the business. So, for example, if I had a referral program with every client you bring to me, you get $10 off your service. So if you bring in 5 people to me, you're getting $50 off your service. And that was just something that I kept inside the business.
Spicy.
Yeah. And it never was something advertised. It was something that it was a rewards program that not only was clever marketing, but it rewarded my regulars that loved what I was doing, obviously, and encouraged them to talk about my business. But I also thanked them in the form of discounts.
I did something very similar. I did loyalty cards. So with their client forms, I would have their loyalty card on it because they always forget to bring it in, and then they'd miss out. I didn't want to tally and remember how many times they came in. But the first 4 was regular price. The 5th one was 5%. And then 6 to 9 was regular price. And then 10th was 10%. So 5 and 10. And then every time they come in, I just stamp their card for them and put it back in their file and update their notes and stuff. And it's just it's a way to remember to update notes too, and their mapping, and if you changed anything as well. Very similar, but
I think it helps it's a form of marketing. So that's one thing. But when it comes to pricing, I think a lot of people think, if I charge less, I'm going to get more clients. Your price list attracts your clientele. If you're sitting at a lower price point, you're attracting price sensitive clients. Price sensitive clients will come to you for, let's say, 6 months if you're lucky. As soon as Sally down the road advertises $10 cheaper than you, that client's going to Sally. Or if their income is affected by loss of job, whatever it might be, that you're losing that client. Therefore, you need to work harder to gain more clients. When you position your price list at a premium, you're attracting clients that are looking for quality. They are looking for someone who's going to give them the best lashes of their life, and they don't even care about the price. Right? They look at, okay, this is the work that she produces. This is the feel of the business. Oh my God, yes, yes, yes. when's your next available appointment?
Mm.
You will attract a client like that with a higher premium price list, and then that's what helps you build that wealthy lash business. Obviously, to get there, you need to be at a lower price point.
Everybody's got to start at the bottom.
Everyone does. I did too. Like I was offering Gumtree at the time was like the place to be.
It is difficult though,
so
but
cheap.
it does, like there is Groupon and there is.
That's Groupon. I used to do Groupon.
Yeah, but they're still out there, you know. These savages, I call them savages because they're like $30 sets, and you're like, stop putting our industry down like that. Like, what are you doing?
Yes.
But then the quality is not what they're getting. There's such good work. What are you doing to yourself?
That's a money block. That's a mindset block.
But it's also with inflation, everybody's a little bit more desperate to get groceries for their family.
Yeah.
So they're gonna cut the legs off from underneath them.
Yeah.
Charge a cheaper set, attract the wrong clientele, and they're going to be in this constant cycle of
catch up. In a way.
But also they're like chasing their tail and they're in financial hardship because they're not taking that time to do the correct advertisement and to be patient enough to stay on task. Yeah.
So when you price yourself at a higher price point, you might not build the clientele as fast as you would with a lower price point. However, in terms of longevity, if that's what your plan is, to create longevity, a higher price point will attract the right type of clients. But can I also touch on the whole, yes, times have changed and shifted in the economy, but there's also people out there that have actually killed it in this economy that are absolutely just like soaring. So it's about positioning your business in a way to be the Chanel to attract that type of elite clientele. That's what I teach my girls to do. And that's why I feel like they're so successful, is because they've had the longevity, because they've priced themselves in a way that is creating longevity in the industry, in their business, attracting clientele based off their price list.
Yeah.
So
I don't think you're going to be taken seriously though if you're continuously undercutting yourself. You're going to continue to attract the wrong clientele market. Looking back, is there a marketing trick? I say trick lightly. Is there a marketing trick or strategy you wish you had started using sooner?
Showing me like the authentic, like me, the person behind the brand.
Yeah.
Because I didn't do that. So, for example, Melbourne Lashes was on social media in 2013. And I didn't start showing my face and the person behind the brand until maybe 2016, 17, 18 was when it started to become a lot more potent. And as soon as I did that, it changed the way people communicated with me, the connections I made. So from a marketing perspective, it was breathing me into the lash business. And showcasing
unveiling who's behind the business.
And creating those connections.
And I'm assuming if you were starting over today with 0 followers and no budget, it would be the same.
Because that's what I did.
Yeah,
it was in the negative. Yeah. I had no followers because Instagram really wasn't a thing, and it was just about, I was solely focused on being the best that I could be at the skill. That's probably something that you need to do, is you're starting this business to offer a skill, offer a service. Stay focused on that, get really good at whatever it is that you want to offer and be the best that you can be in this field.
Yeah.
And then promote yourself as the best, the go-to person for that thing, and people will come.
So what's the one thing that every new lash artist should be doing right now to start building their clients?
Building clients?
Not trend setting, guys. Not trend setting, not forcing you all to do this.
Finding your signature offering. I'm really big on this because yes, you might pivot to classic lashes, let's say, because classic lashes have made a massive comeback. We went through a phase where classic lashes were completely like off the table because volume.
And then we went straight into megas.
Yeah. And then when we went into lockdown and like COVID hit and all those, that time in our life, then the 90s and the 2000s trends came back in. Classic lashes actually became more desirable. So let's say, for example, you want to find your signature offering and it is in classic lashes, and a couple of other lash artists might have the same signature offering. However, it's about putting your own spiel on it. It's about showcasing your skill in a different way that's going to attract people to you. Again, showing that personality plus the skill of what you're offering, the service that you're offering. Find your signature offering, market yourself as the go-to person in that signature offering, and don't feel like you have to offer every single lash set or every single type of beauty service. find what it is that you're really good at and be the go-to person for that.
Do you feel you don't get to pick what you're good at?
Yeah,
It's almost like the industry.
accidental.
Yeah, it's almost like you fall into it.
Yeah, and it does it's combined with what you liked on yourself as well. Like, for example, I don't like mega lashes. That's not my thing. So I never offered it and I never trained in it. So it does come down to what you personally like on yourself. You tend to then create that type of work as well.
Yeah.
I feel like my whole journey has kind of been a little bit accidental, like almost like just falling into and going with the flow. So, yeah.
So what do you wish more lash artists understood about the industry before starting?
Number one, that it is so profitable financially. That's a big thing. And the beauty industry is no longer looked at as like the default job to do. Like, oh, you're just in the
like a
beauty
checkout
industry.
check.
Yeah, right. It's not. It is such it's such a diverse industry to get into, and your potential is so unlimited. But I'm going to talk back to mindset. You will go as far as what your mind will allow you to. And when you pair the beauty industry, lashing, whatever it might be, with a strong mindset, you can make it whatever you want to make it. Whether it's you start off as a side hustle, making extra cash, pay for your boob job, which is, I've had students do that, or buy a car.
I want a boob job.
Whatever, me too. Whatever it is, you can, and then leave it there. Or whether it's doing so at the start, I started Melbourne Lashes because I wanted extra cash to buy my nice designer bags or whatever it was for me, right?
Yeah.
And then it kind of grew into, actually, I could actually make really good money off this. And then it turned into the lash salon solo. Then it turned into the big salon with the staff. Then it turned into the academy. So the lash industry isn't like you don't just enter it and that's it. There's no escape. It can literally set you up for so many incredible things. Like whether it's you want to start your own clothing line or a food line, whatever it is, or if it gets you through to your degree to become a doctor,
it can be the stepping stone.
Is. Yeah, instead of having like a job at Macca's while you're at uni, start a lash business. You'll make 3 or 4, 10 times more than what you'll make at Macca's doing lashing whilst you're at uni. Then once you finish your uni degree, you can drop the lashes and go do what you're doing. Or you'll realize how incredible lashing is and starting a lash career. So it is so diverse.
Yeah.
Like it's not like, I'm going to be a lash tech. That's it. That's me for the next 30 years. It is so diverse.
So there's a few things that I tell my students, and it's either you might get into lash extensions now and build a clientele or learn the art of like lashing and fall in love with it, or you might move into owning a lash supply product line,
100%.
or you might move into education yourself, or you might move into business of running a beauty business. You don't know yet what you're going to love most about this industry because it's like a tree, right? A tree with multiple different branches. The tree is the lashes and multiple different branches is product line, lash business, educator, salon owner.
Mindset.
Oh my God,
I love it.
Doesn't matter which part of the tree branch you want to sit on. The fact is that you're coming into an industry where you don't just have to sit still and just lash your whole life. Some people want to get out from behind the chair. Some people are even making a business now out of digital marketing for the lashes, and it makes no sense to me on what the hell digital marketing has anything to do with lashing. Yet it is now a new tree branch. The tree has grown a new branch and it's digital marketing in the lash industry, which is fascinating to me. But there's so much opportunity in this one industry.
Yeah.
So Ashleigh, this conversation has been everything new lash artists need to hear.
I hope so.
Real, honest, and packed with the truth about what it actually takes to build a successful career in this industry. You've shared the highs, the challenges, and the moments that define what it means to keep going. And I know so many listeners are walking away from this episode feeling inspired and ready to take action. But before we wrap up, I just want to also say that I'm truly thankful for you sharing your journey so openly and for being a voice of guidance to new lash artists, myself included, and stepping into this industry and for reminding us all that success isn't about luck, it's about resilience, dedication, believing in yourself, mindset, even when things feel tough. It's not every day that someone from your level takes the time to sit down and give back like this. And I know this episode is going to be a turning point for so many new baby lash artists, even senior lash artists.
Yeah, thank you.
If you want to learn more from Ashleigh, Be sure to check out Melbourne Lashes and follow her journey on Instagram, TikTok, and through her online courses and podcasts. We'll have all the links in the show notes so you can stay connected and keep learning from one of the best in the industry.
Thank you.
Thank you again, Ashleigh, for being a part. And to everyone listening in this industry, it does have space for you. Your journey is just beginning and the best is yet to come. And I will see you in the next episode. Bye.
Bye.